Have you ever looked at a woke person and wondered, why did you choose to look like this? People on like the woke side of politics will typically try and look a certain way. These people will most stereotypically dye their hair a primary color, get some nose piercings, maybe like a few tats. For women, they'll have like that really strange haircut where it's like half a fringe, like it doesn't, they don't commit to like the full fringe. It seems like all of it is just to like draw attention to themselves. It's kind of like a poison dart frog, like they're trying to like draw attention to themselves with like this crazy combination of colors and unorthodox things that you would see in nature. And I always like question like, what's the internal logic? Why would a woman consciously choose to make her hair blue? Why would she choose to get a bull ring in her nose? Why would she make these decisions? What's the internal logic here? It's like drawing attention to yourself in the cheapest way possible. It's like going up to people with like a bell and like ringing it in their face like, hey, look at me, look at me. Yeah, I guess that does get attention, right? Like people will look at you, but it's not necessarily for a good reason. It's like very obnoxious. It's getting attention in like a very obnoxious way. It's like just assaulting people's eyes with like bright colors, right? And like I've never seen someone that was like above a 5 out of 10 have hair dyed a primary color, like blue, green, purple. I've never seen a man or woman that was above a 5 out of 10 choose to dye their hair in those colors. And I think a reason for that is when you know that your face is subpar and you just don't look that good, you kind of have to like distract people from it. Whereas if you had like a genuinely like good looking face, like you are like a 7 out of 10, why would you bother putting on all these bells and whistles to distract people? You kind of want people to just look at your face, right? Like, have you ever seen those like Antifa mugshots? And they look like raiders in a Fallout game. They're all like definitely under 5, and like they're just, it looks like they're irradiated, like they look like something has gone wrong. And you know, of course, a lot of them will have like nose rings and earplugs and like blue hair or whatever, right? And you kind of don't see good looking people do this. If you're like a woman and you're a Victoria's Secret model or had that equivalence in looks, why would you get a nose ring? Why would you get purple hair? Like, you're already getting enough attention, and you're getting attention in like a very like organic and, you know, desirable way. Why would you want to ring a bell in people's faces, right? And you know, these people are often like very much disliked unless you're like in like these specific bubbles that they operate in. Outside of it, people like this are like really disliked. And I think like one of the reasons, like aside from like the obvious like political disagreements, right, I think like instinctually people gets that this woke look is kind of insincere. If you talk to these people, you'll very quickly realize that they're actually kind of boring. Despite like them trying to like portray themselves as these like super countercultural, outspoken rebels, they're not. They have like the safest opinions like you'll ever hear. Like, have you ever heard a talking point that was like new, that you haven't heard before from someone that had purple hair? Never.
What would you change about the Constitution, if anything?
And that is my note answering this question.
Have a good one.
In fact, people like this often have talking points that are the same as a Fortune 500 HR department. It is like the most mainstream establishment talking points like you could ever imagine. They'll never say anything that would get them ejected from a job interview in a Fortune 500 corporate interview. Like, they'll never say anything like that because their opinions, like despite them wanting you to think they're like this countercultural rebel, they're not. Like, BlackRock agrees with them. So it's like, how are you like this, like, rebel? Like, it doesn't follow. Here's a litmus test. If you speak to, like, a average corporate HR department and they like what you're saying, or they agree with what you're saying, or don't see a problem with what you're saying, you're not a rebel. Almost by definition, it's almost ontologically true that you're not a rebel, because like that is like the establishment of our times, right? Now, on the other hand, I think I'm genuinely outspoken, and I definitely have a rebellious streak to me. Ever since I was like a little child, I've been like rebellious, right? That's just part of my personality. And if you look at quote unquote woke content creators and look at the types of sponsors they get on like their channels on like YouTube and Twitch, it's like the most serious money sponsors you could imagine. BlackRock proxy sponsors like Amazon, insurance companies, phone service, like real serious money like is backing these like so-called rebels, right? On the other hand, like when I look into like my business email for this channel, the last sponsor I got was for a pump. I'm not joking. The type of sponsorship offers I get are for like shoestring and bubblegum. It's pretty obvious that someone like me is not in the establishment. I have much more of a stronger claim to be a rebel than someone getting, you know, sponsors by Audible, right? And here's like a fun little game you can play with these people. Like, if you ask them, what's the most outspoken opinion you have? What's an opinion, a talking point that you have that is going to be edgy? They're going to say like some boring shit. Like, they're not going to say anything that's going to blow your mind. They're not going to say anything that's like, whoa, I didn't expect that. I've never heard that before.
Because true feminism at its core is about the safety and equity for women in society, so that women can not just, it's not about dismantling the family, it's about creating agency for women to choose their lives, not at their, not.
They're not rebels. You know that like phenotype of like that old librarian with her hair bunched up and she's like finger wagging at kids for being too loud in the library? This phenotype didn't go away. It just morphed into this type of woke HR department person. It is the same fusty librarian, you know, finger wagging at kids, but with like a Fortnite skin. It's the same type of person. It's the same personality structure, you know, that's very like strict and orthodox, but just in like another thing. And this is what like these people don't get, because they are like purposefully going against like, you know, what was like traditional masculinity or femininity, that they end up becoming a stereotype in themselves. It's like having an oppositional existence to a stereotype still makes you a stereotype. They don't get that. Like, if your life is dedicated to not doing what is traditionally thought of as feminine or masculine, you're still a stereotype. You haven't left that box. You've just moved into a different box because you have an oppositional existence. When you have an oppositional existence, you have this tiny little box of things you can say and things you can do and things you can talk about. Whereas someone that's like sincerely expressing what they think and doesn't have like this weird like virtue signaling filter, or, you know, is trying to like appeal to like this ideology or something, you know, that's when you can really be you. That's when you can actually be a rebel. You actually will say stuff that people haven't heard before. Anyway, I got 20k subs. That's crazy. Thank you guys so much. I honestly, it means a lot. And yeah, if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll make more videos like this.